Private Charles F.R. Cawthorne was on temporary transfer from the 2nd Tasmanian Imperial Bushman to scout for Lieutenant Colonel Gorringe. He recorded his exploits along the foothills of the Zerberg. Quote, Kaffir Kraal, the 28th of June 1901. Have not had the opportunity of writing since leaving Myberg's farm. We had a scrap the next day, killing 8 and wounding 4. We should have got the 300, but as usual, one outlet that was supposed to be held by another column was not, and they got through. We had a few days at Burgersdorp getting clothes, etc. We are now 3 days out from there on our way south to Stainsburg, which is the Tasmanian Imperial Bushman's base now. Our kits have been moved from Craddock. I've left the Bushman and am now with Gorringe's scouts under Captain Brown. 6 were picked from each of the corps on the column to do permanent scouting, and I was lucky enough to be one of the 6 from our lot. There are 60 of us, and we do all the scouting for the column. We are a big outfit, as we have each 3 horses and a black boy, and 1 mule among each 4. So we have nearly 140 led horses and mules. We get extra pay, an extra 5 shillings a day coming from the intelligence department. Captain Brown is a Cape Colonial and has been all through the war. He gained his commission for good work near Colesberg. A squad of hussars was cut off by the Boers, and this young lieutenant was in a quandary and did not know what steps to take to get out. Sergeant Brown, who was acting as a guide, got them out, and the officer was generous enough to bring him under the notice of the colonel. We have no outpost or fatigue duties, and the black boys do horse guard, so it's quite a pleasant change. We have to scout from sunrise to sunset, and then our duty is over till morning. So far I've not had a line from home. There were big mails at Burgersdorp, but none for me. Thebes, the 8th of July 1901. I last wrote to you from Kaffir Kraal, a farm outside Burgersdorp, and only posted it a few days ago. After joining the scouts, we soon got into a fight. We were 8 miles ahead of the column and had to cross a rocky neck between 2 high koppies. There were 20 of us, and we were leading our horses around the side of one of the high koppies when Milan's commando captured our 2 advanced scouts and opened fire on us. Strange to say, not one of us was touched by the first volley, although they were at fairly close range, some not more than 100 yards away. The captain gave the order to take cover, and 7 got what cover we could and opened fire at the skyline, as we could not see the enemy. The others left their horses and retired into a donga about 500 yards away and opened fire from there. The fire was very hot where we were, and my horse was shot down in a second volley. Captain Brown was shot through the leg with a martini ball, but got his horse down to the donga. The Boers were so close when they opened fire that we could hear them call out, "Hands up!" I had field glasses with me, but could not locate any of them, although there were 70 of them there. The sun was about 1.5 hours from setting, and we were watching it anxiously enough, knowing that we could not get better cover till dusk, as they had concentrated their fire on the bunch of horses we were among. The Boers were enjoying themselves, and we could hear, "We got the khakis today," and "You've hit that one, uncle," and other remarks. At dusk they started to advance to get the horses, but we sent them back to cover with a few shots. I had 3 shots at one about 80 yards off and did not get him, although Shaw, who was with me, said I hit him with the first shot. The light was too bad for shooting. Shaw and I moved for better cover. He was going to the right and I to the left when I came across a wounded fellow named Douglas and helped him out. He was shot through both arms at the biceps and right through the body. Just then our guns opened fire, but it was nearly dark and we were all well up near the skyline. Their shells burst quite close to us. Some of our horses strayed over the top to the Boers. Douglas and the captain were the only 2 wounded. 2 bullets got through their hats and 1 through the breast of Shaw's tunic. I took off into the camp about a mile away. Next day 7 of the scouts were sent back to their different troops as they were not suitable for the game. I'm glad to say there were no Imperial Bushmen among them. There were only 4 of the Tassies in it, and 3 of us were the hottest of the fire among the horses. Today one of the scouts was court-martialed for refusing to carry a dispatch to the column during the scrap. The column was paraded in hollow ground, and the prisoner was brought in bareheaded and sentenced to 12 months on the breakwater at Cape Town. So I'm in a small beachfront hamlet of Wynyard, or Wynyard, I'm not sure. I've hugged the coastline all along the top of Tasmania between Ulverston and here. Some beautiful sort of sandy patches of beach, rolling waves, smell of the seawater. It's foggy, it's grey. I'm not particularly cold, but it could be cold if you weren't rugged up. An old bank there, the Vault Cafe Bar. Look at these things. So the monument, or whatever it is somewhere in the Gutteridge Gardens. Oh, these are seats that fold out, I think. Alright. You could sit on it. I don't know why. The RSL is just up there with some fantastic murals. And as I was coming into town was a community market. I was going to stop, but they were kind of... this is a Japanese flowering cherry. There's some people with swords down there. Look like there might be medieval reenactments. Hope they don't take to me with a broadsword. Japanese flowering cherry. Yeah, there was a market, but they seem to be selling honey and, you know, gin. Just farm goods, eating goods, local. So what I'm thinking I might do is ring the next place I get to. I'm going to be staying overnight. I might ring them and see if I need to get some provisions here or something, because it looked a small place. I don't even know what its name is. And I'll just have to hunker down for the day. Oh, look at this. Here's a fountain. For the trained eye. It could be something. Yeah, those people under that enclosure there are wielding swords. That's a great little dog. I can hear the clash of steel. This is often the difficulty with looking for these monuments when you don't know what they look like. I mean, we were lucky in Ulverston. It looked just like I would have hoped it would. I've switched to the Crocs, which was a good idea, because this grass is very wet. I've only got one pair of sneakers. I can't afford to get them wet. This is a sort of pond that could be, or this fountain could be a Boer War. Beautiful. The water is crystal clear. You can see right down to the bottom. There's no markings on the fountain to indicate if it's significant. There'll be yabbies in there, I reckon. There's trickling water up there through sort of fern. Fishing boats. There's the entrance out to the ocean. I was just thinking about the what would you call them? Indigenous folk, the Aborigines, before white people came. They must have thought this was the whole world. You know, they would have walked along the beachfront and always seen more waterfront. They couldn't have known that there was a land out there, a mainland. In fact, they couldn't have got their head around the fact that they were only a small part of the mainland. But anyway, look, here's a few things. There's that fountain. These are the Gutteridge Gardens. He was a draper, bottom don. I've known some bottom dons in my time. Yeah, I reckon that's where we got to get up to. We got to get up to the War Memorial. I can see it. I can see it, folks. My trained eye. Once again, I can sniff out a Boer War monument from a distance. It is spitting. And this guy. Hello. Alright. That other guy deposited a fair brunch for these seagulls who don't actually go out to sea. They're land birds, boids. They're well trained in soliciting chips from humans. Beautiful ferns through there. It's green, and what I'm already noticing, and you'll have to excuse my ignorance because my knowledge of trees isn't fantastic, but I'm seeing what I would call Huon pines. An example might be something like this. All along the coastline I've seen these, which I think are Huon pines. There's something in this little garden, is there? A little magical little path there. Let's go and have a look. Wow. Slippery when wet. It's a little wonderland of... Oh, fuck, it is slippery. Little wonderland of how Tassie would have looked once upon a time. We'll go through it. It seems to loop-de-loop. But we're escorted or transported back to an ancient time with huge ferns and Tasmanian tigers. The smell of rotting wood and reminds me of a kid. As a kid, we used to go to Sherbrooke Forest, one of the most magical places. We'd run around, you know, looking for fairies and pixies, and it's a great little walk they made here. We'd have a barbecue. We'd have my cousins. We'd have Nana and Gramp. if you've watched the series on Mum, you'd know a little bit about my Nana and Gramp, the postman, World War I veteran. He never spoke much when I knew him. I asked my sister about 6 months or a year ago what was wrong with him. Like, once Nana died, Grampy couldn't stay in the flat on his own. He seemingly couldn't make a cup of tea. Whether he was an alcoholic, dementia, PTSD. Anyway, I tell you what would be here on our little walk through here. My arch enemy, the mosquito. Man, I've been having full-on war with mosquitoes for the last 6 months. Killed hundreds of them. Over summer every night was the London Blitz. Waves of Dorniers and Stukus, Fokker. Came looking to feed on me. Oh, well, this brings us back to where we started our little walk. We'll continue up to the Boer War Monument, and I'm getting a bit hungry. So, whether I get some provisions here, wouldn't mind cooking something on my gas cooker. Sausages or bacon and egg or something. Oh man, it's starting to rain a bit heavier. Alright, I've got to put the pace on and get up here to the top. I'll talk to you when I get there. Hi guys. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Jetty Carter. I abandoned the walking up to the top of the hill here as the rain started to get quite heavy. And I did notice there's a little car park here. So I doubted that the veterans would have to walk up that grassy slope to get to their memorials, lest we forget gates, right? I just tried ringing the Waratah camping ground, which is my next destination. Oh, I love these trees. Is that a big oak, is it? Or acorn? Massive. Yeah, they weren't answering, but I was able to answer one of the questions by just Googling a bit. It looks like Waratah has a supermarket there. Yeah, you should be able to get something to eat. There's a magnificent monument up here, but I think it would be ambitious and foolish to think that it's all Boer War. It may have started its life as a Boer War monument, but I'm already seeing various names. A couple of big guns, like howitzers, tossing big shells miles away at you. The Wynyard showgrounds. There's a couple of little things to see. Might get lucky for a tree or something, but this is a Gallipoli, I'd say. A Gallipoli pine. I'm hoping it clears up tomorrow. A couple of sunny days would be great. Well, this is superb, but once, as I said, it's not going to be all Boer. Those bloody Boers. You know, all the way down here. So long ago. We remember the Tasmanian Imperial Bushmen that left here. So this was erected, looks like 1921. Okay. Egypt. Okay. One of the interesting things about my grandfather and his World War I service was they stopped in Durban on the way over. So when we got off the boat or the ship at Durban, I remember Mum sending postcards to her father that he might remember stopping off in Durban on the way to the Western Front. Well, here we go. Here's the Boers. Not a huge fan of these type things, but it's as good as it gets. It was dedicated on the 9th of June 2018. Dedicated to perpetuate the memory of soldiers from Wynyard and surrounding districts who served in the Second Boer War. Cowell, Lance Corporal Francis Gilbert Cowell, 2nd Imperial Bushman, 4th Contingent. There's that enteric fever, spread by water, contaminated water. And actually that Yeomanry Hospital at Deelfontein, you can still go there. You can see the remnants of the old hospital. It's now just you know, a few upright walls and the archway. But I've got that on my to-do list if I ever get back there, just to go and see the hospital, the Deelfontein. That's the same thing that killed Captain Salmon from Talbot in Victoria, and I did a lot on Captain Salmon if you guys are interested vaguely. Even went to Captain Salmon's ancestral home, right? Oh well, these guys were killed in Vietnam. Watched The Deer Hunter last night, never seen it before. Quite shocking, I suppose. Yeah, no, it was quite shocking. Good film, great acting. A few things I didn't pick up on until I read the review this morning on Wikipedia. I didn't realise they were Russian Americans. I thought they were Catholics. But I thought, watching the movie, I've never seen people enjoy a wedding like they were. The dancing and the moves and it was over the top. It was fantastic. I've never been to a wedding that enthusiastic. Alright, so we'll make our way across to Waratah. And we'll call it for a day then. Talk to you soon.